I was wondering if I could ask you a question. As we talked about life to the full, what do you think stops us receiving life to the full?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Since we had that short talk yesterday, it really had me thinking, and I still would like to be able to do what I want when I want, and that's sort of, the freedom to be your own boss and do things. And you were talking about yesterday about church and God, and it got me thinking a little bit, and I think, possibly, looking into God a bit more and what he might be on about might also bring a bit more purpose to my life, I think.
A good way of thinking about that is maybe if I share a story with you.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine you have a new neighbour.
Yep.
Someone that's just moved next door. Now, Paul, you're a pretty friendly guy.
Yes.
I do know that. And so you say to this, you go around to visit the neighbour,
Yep.
and you try to welcome him. Maybe your wife takes some brownies around or something
Yeah.
like that. And you do everything you can to make friends with this neighbour, but he doesn't want to know you. He ignores you. So you end up living together for, say, 3 years,
Yeah.
next door to each other,
Yeah.
for 3 years, and he just completely ignores you.
Okay.
Now, Paul, imagine one day is a day you're very excited because you've been saving up for a nice new sports car. The
Yes.
car you've always wanted.
A Ferrari.
A Ferrari,
Yeah.
absolutely,
A
absolutely.
red one.
It has to be red. What
Has
other
to be.
colour is there?
Absolutely.
You don't want one of those yellow ones, right?
No.
So this day, this car is finally in your driveway.
Yep.
It's been there for 10 minutes when all of a sudden you get a knock on the door. And it's the neighbour you haven't seen.
Okay.
And he comes and says to you, Paul,
Yep.
it's good to see you. I'd love to borrow your Ferrari. What would you say to him?
Oh, look, I'd tell him to get lost, personally. I mean, he's been ignoring me for 3 years. He's not just going to come and suddenly get it to drive my brand new car. So, yeah, I don't think he'd have much of a chance.
That's absolutely right. Because he's ignored you,
Yeah.
that breaks the relationship.
Mm.
And you see, Paul, when we ignore God, it actually breaks our relationship with him.
Yep.
Now, Paul, one of the things about ignoring God is actually sin. And sin could be defined, I guess, as rebellion against God.
Okay.
But when we rebel against God, there's actually consequences for that. And those consequences are actually eternal separation from
Yeah.
God. Now, Paul, the thing about sin is we can sin in our attitude,
Yes.
as we talked about, by ignoring God. But we also sin by the things we do. We sin in our actions.
Okay.
And so we're not living the way God wants us to live. We're doing things that maybe we know God wouldn't want us to be doing.
Yes.
Paul, there's a Bible verse that says, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that I'm not a sinner. I sin. Jim sins. Everyone at this barbecue sins. We all do it.